You are already winning. That you do not need any help. That you are a successful alpha male. So the idea of pheromones in relation to semen retention is a curious dialogue of conversation. Now I will preface this by saying that technically, if we are going to go by scientific literature, there is no evidence to speak of that humans excrete any kind of pheromones from a scientific perspective, okay? However, it's well documented that animals of all kind excrete some kind of pheromones to indicate to the female of the species that they're in mating season, let's say. Now, in my experience, what actually happens is when you begin to refrain from ejaculation, you signal to the body, after many years of ejaculating very frequently, that you are no longer in a mating season. Remember, the body doesn't know the difference between a beautiful woman that you're seeing right in front of you in the same room and a beautiful naked woman, if you're watching any kind of pornography or, dirty videos, whatever the case is. It doesn't know the difference. So the physiological and biological feedback that you are experiencing when your sensory organs pick up that particular scenario in front of you, regardless if it's artificial or not, is signaling to the body that the organism is ready to procreate and mate and reproduce. Okay? And it is confirmed by the feedback of masturbation and ejaculation. Okay? So if you remove that from the organism's environment and you begin to go through a kind of fast of reproducing, okay? And you begin to be sexually continent for a sustained period of time, let's say 60 to 90 days. What happens biologically, and I've experienced this, and physiologically, is that your body will start to signal to the environment that it hasn't reproduced in X amount of time, and it is going to help you reproduce. Remember, we have two prime directives as an animal. Let's not get away from the fact that we are creatures of this earth. Different, but our biology is very similar. We have two primary functions. The first is to do with sustaining the individual. So we must eat to sustain the organism. The second is to reproduce. So it's the group. So it's the other. So we have to prioritize the individual and the group, the species. And it is the second principle is have sex to procreate to confirm the survival of the human race. Those are the two prime directives the body must do. And if the environment is not signaling to the body that it is not being successful in those two prime directives, so the second one, if it is not reproducing, if it is not experiencing ejaculation, then it is failing its prime directives. And once the body realizes that it is failing to sustain the future of the human race, it is going to take matters into its own hands and start creating some kind of evolution adaptation to help you attract a female. So I make the joke that the idea of woman attraction and becoming more better with talking with women and even just getting more looks and things like that, it is a consequence of a biological wingman. You have a biological wingman in the form of pheromones that you excrete through sweat, through urine, through all kind of bodily fluids that permeate the air, and they signal to the environment that you are ready to reproduce, that you need to reproduce. Okay? And that is the logical way of looking at it. And I've experienced this firsthand to a degree where you start to get the quote-unquote more attention. You start to, it's more It's more your body gives you the tools needed to achieve that task with less resistance. That's the easiest way I can put it. It's funny, we think things are based on perception. So there's two ways of attracting a female species. The first is conscious attraction, and the second is subconscious attraction. The world is predicated on conscious attraction. So you are trying to attract a female through the clothes you're wearing, the car you drive, the money you have, your surface level perception of what they can see immediately in their environment, okay? Is he tall? Is he dark and handsome? You get the picture, okay? And that is a rationalization. The second is predicated on subconscious attraction. Subconscious attraction is emotional, and you would have experienced this, man or woman, in various different scenarios of your life, that somebody isn't perhaps superficially attractive to you. Maybe their face isn't as symmetrical as you'd like it to be. Maybe their body composition isn't as attractive as you would like it to be. But regardless of that feedback, that the feedback you're getting through perception, there is something more there. There is something energetic going on there. There is something emotional happening there, that you are drawn to this particular individual. And that is the scope of how the pheromones work in that realm. It's subconscious. Okay? It's a biological signaling that we can't perceive through any kind of rationalization, through the typical societal signals that we would expect to see, such as, a woman might say, okay, I want my man to be make six figures. I want him to be tall, dark, and handsome. And as a man, you might say, okay, I want my future wife to be traditionally attractive. I want her to be traditionally feminine. Regardless of those conscious tick sheets that you would hope to see superficially, there is something more emotional there. Maybe that feminine point wasn't technically rational, but there is something energetic that happens when you're in the same room with these kind of people. I hope I'm communicating that effectively. And that's where the pheromones work in that scope. And like I mentioned, if you begin to abstain from that and communicate, all you're doing is communicating with your body at this point. You're communicating with your subconscious attraction, because the feedback that you've been given it, if you've been addicted to sex, addicted to porn, addicted to masturbation, is that you are already winning, that you do not need any help, that you are a successful alpha male. And then when the heat of the moment is over and you come to your senses and that guilt and depression sinks in, you have a cognitive dissonance, because the reality that you are perceiving consciously is not reflective of the one that has happened emotionally and energetically within you. And then you're confused, because the body is confused, because the rational and the subconscious, so the conscious and the subconscious paradigms are not matching up. It's not working, and that's why men are getting depressed. And I don't want to digress into the more severe aspects of suicide and things like that. But this is it's funny when we put all our energy into the conscious attraction kind of way. This is easy. It's supposed to be easy. We're not supposed to have these mediums to lose our sexual energy to, in the forms of many different pernicious types of pornography. It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be simple, and if you keep it simple, you'll win. You'll get what you want. You get everything. So, brothers, I wanted to bring you that bit of information this quite charming morning. As soon as this is a very interesting topic, and as if I do manage to come across any kind of scientific and evidence-based information regarding pheromones, I will perhaps do another video on it to appease these skeptics and the rational among you, because I know you're out there. But try it yourself. Humble yourself. Humble me. Go 60 days, go 90 days. See if that biological wingman kicks in and you start finding attraction is just is just something that God gave you in the first place, but that you've been wasting on cheap artificial experiences. Brothers, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and I'll bring you something else very, very soon. Take care.